They just have to comb their hair and brush their teeth before they show up?
These Congress can remove it.
What does it mean that they are elected for good behavior?
Honor their oaths.
It's life term. Once you're elected, you have to die or quit before you're out. You get elected once, and unless we impeach you for treason, you are there for life. That's why everybody wants to be a Supreme Court judge. You know, basically you don't have to worry about going up for election anymore. Why are we always worried about who we vote for in the popular election for president? Not that it means anything.
Because you don't know who they'll appoint as
Because
judges.
the President of the United States is the guy that appoints Supreme Court judges. Imagine Al Gore being president, and who is he going to appoint as a Supreme Court judge?
Hillary.
And then you got that judge until that judge dies. That's why everybody's so worried about who the next president is, not because we give a 2 cents about what he is, but who he's going to appoint. We're going to be stuck with that person for life. Now, let us go to the bottom of page 31. This is the beginning of section 2. And it says, the judicial power shall extend to all cases in law and equity. What does that mean? In law and equity.
Constitution and contract.
Sounds like it means criminal and civil
Property.
property, yeah.
Okay, pretty close. You're on the right track. And then if you flip over to the next page, on page 32, about the, where is it? All cases. Okay, about the 4th line. To all cases of admiralty and maritime jurisdiction. Okay. The key is in this last phrase, admiralty and maritime jurisdiction. We have a different jurisdiction. These are the 3 types of law that the Supreme Court has jurisdiction over. We have, the Constitution is the supreme law of the land. But that is only common law. That's common law, which is the Constitution. In common law, everything is based on property. Surprise! What derives from property? Rights. The Constitution is supposed to protect your rights, and so it's got to be, common law has got to be based on property. So if you run over my mailbox, and that's my property, what has to happen? You have to restore my property. Instead of me beating you over the head with a baseball bat, you come over and fix my mailbox. As soon as you fix my mailbox, we're friends again. Right? There are two laws, or two aspects to common law. Don't mess with anybody's property, and do what you say you're going to do. That is where criminal law and civil law derive from. So, I've got criminal cases and civil cases. Again, criminal is based on the violation of property. Civil case is based on a violation of your word. You promised to do something, I was going to pay you, you reneged on the contract, and so I take you to civil law. Now, just briefly, let's flip ahead to the Fifth Amendment. That's going to be on page 44. The Fifth Amendment is on page 44 of your Constitution. And the second to last line, it says, shall not be deprived of life, liberty, or property without due process of law. What is due process of law? You get your day in court? Is that due process? If I've got this kangaroo court over here, I'm in West Virginia, and yeah, I've got all my brothers and sisters on the jury. You want to go and sit in my court? Is that due process? No. Due process means that you have common law, equity law, and admiralty law. Those are the three types of law that the Supreme Court is authorized to preside over. And they are different. Just like baseball, football, and basketball are different sports. They're all sports, but they are different sports. You don't stand on a baseball field and go, touchdown! People, what are you talking about? That doesn't make any sense. Here, someplace else, that may make perfectly good sense. You have to know what playing field you're on. Now, common law is all based on property. If I haven't damaged any of your property, or you can't show me a contract that I've reneged on, you've got nothing. You can't accuse me of it, or you can accuse me, but you can't put me in jail for anything. Now, what if you're in your car, I'm in my car, and we intersect, unfortunately, out on somebody else's property? Where's the property damage? Did I violate your property or did you violate my property? Well, it's kind of both at the same time, wasn't it? There's no clear property distinction. I can't say this was my mailbox. There is no defining line, no defining property line. So, common law really cannot apply. You can't say this was my property and not yours. That is where equity law comes in. Under equity law, the judge has arbitrary power. The judge can decide what the result of the case is. Equity means fairness. So this is all supposed to be based on fairness. Defined by who? The judge. So, I mean, if you like the judge and you trust him, that may not be so bad. But, you know, if you don't trust the judge, you may be in for a real rude awakening. Now, if it's not going to be in equity court, then you drop down into admiralty court. What does admiralty and maritime make you think of? Water. All right is based on property. If I go out onto the ocean in my boat, who owns the ocean?
Nobody.
Nobody. Nobody owns the ocean. There's no property. There's no land. I can say, this is my land, and the land's not going to move. But the tide comes in, the tide goes out. You know, nobody owns the ocean. And so you have a completely different body of law. When I go out onto a sailboat, I've said this several times. I don't know if any of you are sailors. Has anybody here heard the expression that the captain's word is law? Okay? It's not a euphemism. It doesn't mean, oh, the old man's just grouchy till he gets a second cup of coffee. It means the captain's word is law. It doesn't have to be right. He just has to be the captain. When he goes out into the ocean in his boat, he has a 40-foot floating country, or however big his boat is. It's his country, and he is a dictator. End of story. He doesn't have to be right. He can throw you in the brig for anything he wants. You have your hair part in the wrong side. Now,